I think it's like high school, but we're sophomores now. That's what it's like. No, it was really great to see everyone, and it's an unfamiliar experience for me because this is the first time that I've done a second season of something. So it was really nice to just sort of feel like we were having a reunion. You realize how many people have gone on the journey with you. And if they're coming back for a second season, you want to raise the bar. You want to make it even better, and you want to work even harder to give them a reason to stick with you. And like loyalty should be rewarded. So we have to do even better now. Definitely a way to reward the audience and the Stephen King fans is to have him write the first one. Yeah. He really put his spin on it. You can see how he took these characters that people think that they know and reminded us that nobody is 100% anything, that nobody is good or evil, and that it might not be what you think it is or where you think it's going. And then he also created situations where the tension really builds and it seems like something horrific is going to happen, and then you don't always get to see it. Like it'll actually say in the scene, it'll read in the script, smash cut to, then you're somewhere else. And something horrific has happened, but you had to imagine what it was or how gruesome it was. And I just think that that is such a wonderful thing that he brings. And it really is going to make our show unique in that way. One of the things I think he does best is he uses the power of suggestion and and human nature without embellishment, which is horrifying because it means that anybody is capable of anything in the right circumstances. And what happens in your imagination means that there's a personal element to the horror, right? Things that we imagine are always scarier to us, or the scariest things, scarier than the things that anybody can sort of offer you. We changed the ending so nobody knew what was going to happen even if they read the book, and now we're so outside the book that you don't have any resources, so haha, you don't know. We've been talking a lot this season about the keyword of transformations, which has really been the theme going into the second season. And it's funny because for Julia, it's sort of literal. It's like, the caterpillar becoming the butterfly is the ultimate, is the paradigm for transformation of any kind. And here she is, crowned the monarch. I think that going forward for Julia, the idea that she's had this sort of title and this responsibility bestowed upon her, she wasn't seeking it. She had to let a side of her die and let Barbie, who she loves, in her mind be sacrificed in order to save Chester's Mill, which was the beginning of her taking on that transformation. It was the beginning of her being allowing a different part of herself to exist. I've been thinking a lot about in the Great Depression when people were encouraged to have victory gardens, and Americans were encouraged to go out and have gardens in their front yards to provide food so that they could have fresh fruits and vegetables, which they didn't have access to or couldn't afford. And it's almost like we're going back to that, and back to that sort of fundamental American spirit of let's do it ourselves. In a way, I think it's like the show will be almost like a throwback in certain ways, and it'll be nice to see people come together in that respect, and it'll be really interesting to see who has no desire to do that and who just wants to get out and who just wants to have power and thinks that they can sustain themselves on power alone. And I think there's more than one character in the Dome who is gonna show those colors. There are ways to be resourceful that are sort of like the way Big Jim is resourceful, which is cunning and survivalist. And then there's resourceful in, I need food, I'm going to go out and I'm going to plant things. And I think that it has to be that very basic, really getting back to the fundamentals of a time when you needed something, you had to do it yourself. You know, a simpler time is, you know, an obvious way to say it. The thing that I really love about the introduction of the love triangle is I think even we as actors sort of forgot for a minute. Because it's been 7 months, we've had this massive hiatus before coming back, that these characters have been going through all this in a very short period of time. And now it's been 7 months, but it hasn't even been an hour. We're picking up right where we left off. So Julia and Barbie have been together for like a hot minute. And considering everything that they went through, I think that there's enough there for her to still be processing the relationship and still be asking, is this the right person for me to be with? Did I choose the right person? Is he who he says he is? Can I trust him? And if you have just a little bit of doubt and you add to that, you know, a handsome stranger from a cabin in the woods who comes to rescue you, I think that, you know, I understand how she might sort of go, oh, you know, this guy's kind of interesting, and maybe I was looking in the wrong place, and maybe this is where I'm meant to be. And, you know, I do think it's sort of an honest way to drive a wedge between Julia and Barbie. I know him a little bit. He's lovely. I did an episode of CSI New York many, many, many years ago, and he was very gracious. Very hard to be a guest star coming on to someone's show, and he was extremely gracious, and I hope he feels really welcome here with us. I think Julia's ultimate hope is going to be anyone who can be an ally in staying and in keeping people calm and level-headed. I think that's one of the things she's really been trying to do is sort of have this idea. She's kind of the one who goes like, let's get all the facts before before mayhem breaks loose, and let's find out what the dome really is, and let's find out who we can really trust. And she's sort of the pragmatic character in a way, and there's so much chaos around her, and I really hope for her that whichever residents that we meet this season, I think that, you know, Julia is going to be hoping with each new person that this is somebody that we can trust. Because if we're really, really stuck here and no one's getting out and we're really trapped here, then we need people who can essentially build civilization. I don't know that it's the kind of thing you wish on anyone, but I do think that we haven't met all the residents of Chester's Mill, obviously, and so it is possible for people to enter the dome, not from the outside, but people who've already been inside who we just haven't met their characters yet. Either in Sam's case, he's been a recluse in the woods and hasn't come forward, or just in the 13 episodes, we just haven't met all the residents, and so there's other people who can become connected. If death is the only way out, then Big Jim can take that ride. And if it means seeing someone go to freedom, who would that be? I would probably want, if it had to be only one, I think Julia would probably want one of the kids to go. I think she'd probably want Joe or Nori to find their way out. I've been approached by people for other projects where they just want to say, you know, I love you in this role, and they just want to say something nice and kind of meet you. And on this, fans of this show are not like that. Fans of Under the Dome want to tell you, it's like, yeah, you're great, but what is going on? Like, they're so into it. And I watch people time and time again have this experience where they're totally hooked and they want to know. I think there's a lot of reasons to watch the show. Some of them, are, of course, are the reasons why I think we had so many viewers the first season, which is that it's a sci-fi show. It's visually stunning. It's got really, really great effects, amazing characters. But really, it's just different. And I think that that's a breath of fresh air. You know, there's a lot of shows that are very similar on the air, and we really are a different kind of show. If people want to be engaged and they want a good mystery and they like to try to figure out who did it or what it is and they like that sort of thing, if you like intrigue, then I think that's the reason to join in.